John Adams. And who's that? Thomas Jefferson. And who's that? Do you remember who that is? Madison. That's right. That's James Madison. And who's that? James Monroe. That's right. And who's that? Who's that? Quincy. That's right. Quincy. John Quincy Adams. Who's that? Andrew Jackson. And who's that? Martin Van Buren. And who's that? Tippy Canoe. That's right. That's William Henry Harrison. And who's this? John Tyler. And who's this? James K. Polk. And who's that? Zachary Taylor. And who's that? You remember who that is? Millard Fillmore. That's right. And who's this? Who's this? Franklin Pierce. That's right. And who's that? Buchanan. And who's that? Abe Lincoln. That's right. And who's this? Andrew Johnson. And who's that? Who's that? Ulysses. That's right. U.S. Grant. And who's that? Hayes. Rutherford Hayes. And who's that? Garfield. James Garfield. And who's that? That's Grover. That's Grover Cleveland. But who's this? Yeah, that's right. Chester Alan Arthur. And who's this? That's Grover the second time. That's right. He ran 2 non-consecutive terms. Who's this? Benjamin Harrison. That's right. Do you remember who this is?
Yeah.
Who is that? William. That's right. McKinley. And who's this? Who's that? Teddy Roosevelt. He wear glasses. That's right. Who's that? That's William Howard Taft. And who is this? Woodrow Wilson. He wears glasses too, doesn't he? Who is this? Warren Harding. That's right. And do you remember who this is? Calvin Coolidge. And who's that? Hoover. That's right. And who's this one? Who's that? Do you remember? Roosevelt. That's right. And who's that? And that's Ike. But who's this? Harry Truman. And that's Ike. What do we call Ike? Remember? Dwight. That's right. Who's this? Kennedy. And who's this? Lyndon. That's right. Lyndon Johnson. And who's that? Who's this? Who's that? That's Ford. And who's that? Nixon. And who's that? Jimmy Carter. And yep, that's Ford. And who's this? Who's this? Who's that? That's Jimmy Carter. And who's that? Reagan. That's right. And who's that? Bush. And who's that? Bill Clinton. And who's this? That's not Trump. Who's that? Bush, the second Bush. And who's that? Barack Obama. And who's that? That's right.
Good job.
Julian, how old are you? How old? 1 year old. That's right. He knows all.